Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Studio 70 on the Morphew case, which we did our first episode not too long ago.
About last week, right?
Yeah, about a week or so ago, where we talked about the background story, but we pointed to other channels that have a longer background story if you want to know everything in detail. Yeah. We were focusing on the high-level timeline and kind of really what happened on the 9th versus the 10th.
Yeah.
And now we're dissecting it a little further. So let's tell you a little peek of what we're talking about today. We're talking about the bike ride, or was it Barry's deception? Okay, so let's start right now.
It's an interesting one.
I don't know who looks more not meaner or more serious than that.
Right?
We had fun doing that. All right, so today, yes, we're going to talk about the bike ride at Barry's deception, but first
we want to go to, this is for education and entertainment purposes only.
Yes,
do your own research, and don't forget, be kind to everyone.
Yes, please be kind. And you guys have been excellent, very kind to us in the comments.
We love that.
Even some of the stuff that, you're correcting us on or adding stuff to. We appreciate that. We appreciate everything.
Keep those coming. That's awesome. And don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share.
And subscribe is huge. If you're watching this, just take the little extra moment to subscribe, because we're still new. So that every single subscribe really helps us out a lot.
Yeah.
And it counts very much. So we really appreciate that. So today we're going to, without further ado, we're going to get into the topics that we're talking about today. So basically, we're going to talk about when Suzanne usually rode her bicycle, where she usually rode her bicycle, what she usually wore when she went riding. We're going to talk about her bike and gear condition. Meaning, through the investigation, where was the gear, what condition it was in, etc. And then a couple odd comments that Barry had. So, yeah, there's some weird stuff. And I know Chirac is going to say, you let it out of the bag already, but our next episode is going to be strictly on all the odd things that Barry has said, meaning these wild stories, because that one's probably gonna be for more entertainment purposes than stuff. But that's you can't make it stuff up. But let's first talk about
when Suzanne usually rode her bike.
That's right. So let's look at that part of it. All right. So here's some of the reporting from the sergeant on May 10th. Barry said that Suzanne rides her bike regularly and usually leaves between 8 and 9 a.m., which is the morning, right? On the 13th, now Barry stated that, she does this stuff like wakes up, has her coffee, reads her Bible or emails, and then she rides her mountain bike around the neighborhood. And then she does things around the house. So it's really interesting. I guess he's kind of assuming it's still morning time that she does this. But this is what Barry says, okay? And also, let me just state right now, we talked about this not too long ago, Chirac, is that everything from like 2 or 3 o'clock on May 9th, 2 o'clock meaning in the afternoon, between 2 and 3, to like the rest of the time, everything has been Barry. The last person to see her live was Barry, supposedly in the morning. But everything is based on his story. I looked up it, if you look up on the internet, it makes it sound like she was last seen riding her bike. And that's a figure of speech, because everything I could find, even some of the reports from October, it still states that Barry was the last person saw her live. So there, as far as I can tell, and you guys correct me if wrong, I don't see anything that somebody who was called out that saw her riding that morning on the 10th. But anyhow, he's saying it's the morning time. Well, according to, and of course it's been redacted, I'm assuming it's either a neighbor or a friend, stated that Suzanne mountain bikes regularly during afternoon hours. Now, afternoon could be 1 or 2 to some people. It could be 4 or 5 to other people. The definitions of afternoon and evening kind of overlap a little bit, but definitely, obviously not morning. Jeff, who was her lover, mentioned that she normally rode in the evening, okay, for half an hour, 40 minutes. Again, not the morning. On the bottom here, we see Suzanne message Barry. So this is Suzanne talking. Been studying all afternoon. I'm going to bike ride now. So
And that was at
afternoon.
4:43.
That's at 4:43. Good catch. I should have highlighted that too, Shirok. See, you keep me honest. That was a good one. That's excellent. All right. So yes. So it's all afternoon. None of that is in the morning. So on her Instagram here, now let's just focus on the times. I know there's a lot here, but let me just point to the bottom that the two locations she was at, you know, it's time frame, 4:30 p.m., 4:36 p.m. You see some consistency there.
Exactly.
Do you see anything in the morning? Did anybody said, as far as we know, other than Barry, said that she would ride in the morning? Okay, no. And then Barry explained though on this was in the early hours of May 11th. Barry explained that his wife planned for May 10th was to clean the house and get the spare bedrooms ready for her daughters coming back and possibly a friend to visit. Barry said his wife rides her mountain bike every day. He added Suzanne was diagnosed with cancer twice and her wife beat it. So would she have cleaned the house first and then went for a ride? Or ride in the morning before cleaning? Or maybe not at all. And the reason why we talked about this maybe being a little bit different is because of the circumstance of her daughters coming back. So let's get to the next one. So Barry stated sometime on Saturday, Suzanne asked him to take her mountain bike and helmet out of her vehicle, which he did. So that Saturday's May 9th. That's before the morning that she supposedly went for a bike ride. So if the statement is true from Barry, then Suzanne was most likely either going to ride around the neighborhood because she wouldn't want to put her bike back into the car, right? Or, but then would somebody have seen her? Because you'd figure a witness who usually would see her in the neighborhood, or maybe somebody driving, because she would have to cross the highway, I think, to get to this normal trail she used to go to. You would think somebody would see her that morning. Or did she not ride at all that day? And the circumstances, the circumstances that morning was a little different because, like I mentioned, it was Mother's Day. Her mother passed away a couple years ago. She would always be a little bit down, but her daughters were coming. She had a lot on her plate.
Right, was she ride or not?
Would she have, rode her bike, that morning if she even was alive at that point? Because we'll save that to the end, but we have our own opinions on that. But just in the context, let's just say for argument's sake, for right now, Shirok, if she was alive, you could see this maybe she did alter her usual.
Right, she could have altered if she was alive because of all of the things she had to do because it was Mother's Day. She was waiting for her kids to come in. She had a lot on her plate.
Right. So it's possible. I mean, anything's possible at this point. So let's look at where she usually rode her bike. Okay. So Jeff, again, the person that she was having an affair with, mentioned, as far as he knew, she did not ride often in her neighborhood.
Her own neighborhood.
He didn't say at all. He just said not that often, and she normally rode in the evening, like she mentioned, and that the sergeant mentioned that the person, again redacted here, often used wide trail across the highway. So I think that was, and what I could find out, I think that was one across the highway only a few minutes from her house. So I want to take a guesstimate, again, just based on the information, that she probably preferred to ride outside the neighborhood, but sometimes just for convenience, it was probably, if she wanted to make sure she rode every day, she probably just did it around the neighborhood when she could. But on Instagram, she definitely showed other locations away from the house. Little Rainbow Trail, Mount Shavano. I think those, I believe, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think those are not.
Are those close
nearby.
To a house? Or
I don't believe they are. And I think Methodist Mountain is another one. But notice, again, the times are in the afternoon or evening. So again, I think the neighborhood wasn't, I don't think that was preferred. Okay, what she usually wore when she went riding. Okay, so again, on this report from the deputy Brown, she wore a turquoise colored bicycle helmet and a windbreaker jacket. again, these are that's her real helmet, but the jacket is just an example of what it may look like. She also had her iPhone that she took with her riding the bike. And Barry added that she was going through cancer treatments. I didn't realize. I don't know if she was going through at that time or if you mentioned she had going through, but I'm assuming. And if people who have gone through this scenario before had these treatments, I'm assuming you have to keep well hydrated. I would imagine, but let me know because I would think she would need her hydration pack if she went. But maybe she's going for a quick one. She didn't need to. But in her Instagram pictures, she had her blue camelback, if I say it right. The hydration pack basically visible. That's an example. That's not the exact one, but that's what kind of, looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And that she normally had her cell phone
Glasses.
and glasses. Now that cell phone's an example, but the glasses, that's from her picture. So those are the exact glasses that she would wear. Okay, so this is all the stuff that she would normally take with her. So keep that in mind. Because now we're going to get into the bike and gear condition, okay? So, one thing to note about the inspection of the actual bike when they found it, there was no damage to it. There was no scratches. It peered out of a place. And there's other comments, but I can paraphrase for you guys. Basically, they said the bike looked like it was just placed there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it didn't look like a normal, somebody either chucking it, off the road or an accident or anything like that. Okay, so that's pretty weird. That's one thing.
The question is, who placed it there?
Exactly. And then Deputy Brown observed the mountain bike gloves and padded shorts were in a pile that's inside the house. Barry walked into the master bedroom and pointed to clothing on the floor in the closet. And that's when Deputy Brown observed those shorts. So again, people may have maybe one pair of gloves. Maybe you have one more pair of padded shorts.
I doubt that. I think you should definitely have more than one because you get sweaty I know you definitely get sweaty, right?
I would think so. What I'd love to hear is from people who do this. Yeah, I'd love to hear from people who do this. Maybe not in races, but the same level as her that would go like either every day or many times during the week. Mm-hmm. Who have this type of equipment, let us know if you do. Is it common to have multiple pair of gloves and padded shorts?
I definitely think that.
Yeah, I know money wasn't, they
exactly.
had money, so I don't think that was a problem. Women's jacket, knit cap in the rear, pair of sunglasses and key in the glove compartment, and her water hydration sunglasses in the front. So basically, what this is saying is it looks like 2 pairs of sunglasses. Now I look at it again. Was found in a Range Rover. All the stuff was found in a Range Rover. So if her bike, shorts, and riding gloves are in the house, the jacket, sunglasses, and water hydration camelback that she used was still in the car. And this is where I know we talked about this before, but that water hydration thing. Now, and again, people who do this like casually, not like professional, where they're doing huge rides, I would think you only need one hydration pack. It's something you use over and over. I don't think you would have
probably
2.
Have 2. Could be.
But I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. I'm curious to say. Yeah. So let us know. I'm curious. Odd comments that Barry made, or odd Barry comments as I shortened it up to be. So here's some weird stuff. He goes, Barry started crying. This is when he found out, they found the bike. He's like, hey, they found the bike? He said he was heading that way and asked, did they find the phone? So I thought that maybe I'm reading into this, but I found that really interesting. I'm trying to think, Shrock, say, God forbid you were on a bike ride and you're missing. And they said, hey, we found her bike. Probably the first thing I would say is like, did you find her? Because, maybe it's a pause of like, hey, I found the bike. I would say, hey, did I find her? Did you find anything? But to have the phone in mind, I don't know. That wouldn't be the first thing in my mind, but maybe I'm reading into it a little bit.
Like, did you find the phone? Because if you found the phone, maybe you can find the pattern.
Yeah, so. I got you. But would that be the first thing? Like, if you don't know anything, like if they said, oh, you were missing. He
knew that she was missing.
Well, he knew we were missing. Okay, so he knew that she was missing, right? Yes. He gets a call from the police. Hey, we found her bike. I know you assume they would say, all right, we also found her. But I'm just saying, I don't know. I didn't hear it exactly. So I don't know if there was a pause or whatever, but maybe I'm reading into it. I just think, did they find the phone to seem kind of weird to me. That'd be the first thing in your head, but maybe he's just brainstorming. So, okay. So maybe that's not as odd as I took it. And Barry stated, one, somebody took her right there where the bike was. Just they threw her into the car, or she got in willingly, whatever, and ran off. Barry added, or someone chased her and she's in the river, and she's still in the river right now, today, somewhere in the logjam. Like, that's just weird. I know I read that weird because it's also written kind of odd. Right. But the whole point of it, he was saying somebody took her, and either willingly or not, and then they threw her in the river. And that's just, I know that she listens to Forensic Files, but that's weird. That's just, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Now, this one isn't a weird comment. The third one here is not from Barry per se. It's from Laura and Andrew Richardson. But they didn't understand why Barry waited so long until that night to come back if they thought Suzanne was on a bike ride that morning. And that's a great observation. So it's not a weird comment, but it's a weird thing to do from Barry's end.
Well, it says that Barry waited that long until that night to come back. How far was he? Maybe it took a while for him to even drive back.
I think
if somebody's saying something, and if it's a 2-hour drive, then
I think
it's going to take
it was
long.
A little bit. But
yeah, it was long. It wasn't like he was right around the corner.
No, but I don't know about you, but if I know you were missing, I think I would leave right away. But I guess you can argue, well, the business and all, and we have to go back to the timeline. But
yeah,
that is subjective because everybody's reaction's different. But I'm just pointing out that they thought that was a weird thing. And then lastly, Barry stated, because if someone went in and did something and took her and then ditched her bike to make it look like something, then I want you guys to find the evidence. However, he states multiple times, there's nothing in the house and nothing in my truck. Again, you could read into it. If that's an honest person saying that, he's saying, hey, but why would you go from one to the other? It's almost like he's trying. You could read this as like he's telling them what they did, in a way. That's just kind of a weird thing. Like, why would you say, oh, well, maybe somebody like ditched her bike and did something to her, and nothing to see here in my house or my truck. It's just weird. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
That's what. That's why I just love these cases, because you find out other people personalities and why do they say the things they say, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, again, I said odd, okay? Yeah. Okay, now one more odd. You want to see one more odd? Here we go.
This is odd.
Andrew Mormon on okay. So CBI agent Kobach interviewed Andrew Mormon, brother of Suzanne. Okay. And Barry told Andrew that Suzanne crashed her bike or was forced off the road. Barry also said that a mountain lion dragged her off. Barry used the mountain lion idea for 2 to 3 days before the theory changed to someone taking Suzanne. Then Barry could not get past the idea that Suzanne was being molested. So a mountain lion. Does a mountain lion even have a I don't even want to know. I might as well throw aliens in here.
Are there any mountain lions?
I think so, but I mean, as far as I know, the size that they would be able. First of all, I guess it would have to be mountain lions, because would one mountain lion be able to pull a person like miles away? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh, but the idea of this is just, I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Maybe I'm. One more thought, and this is just something that was related to the bike. The DNA of the unknown male was found on the bike. Now, I didn't go into details because we'll go into that in a further episode. We'll break this down way further. But there was DNA found on the helmet and the bike, I think on the handlebars and the seat and all that. But I just want to show here that I believe the DNA.
In the house too. Right?
Yeah, I think in the house too. There's a whole big thing, and there's profiles. I didn't want to go too deep on the DNA profiles, like the percentages of what they found where and so forth. But as far as I know, the DNA in the glove box differed from what was on the helmet and the bike. And, when we get further into this case, Shirok, I want to share, where I stand, but I want to share it with the folks in terms of what my theory is based on the evidence, and I'll give a case towards what I think and why I think based on the facts of the case. But that's for a later time. I kind of want to reserve that for now. But I just want to mention that there was unknown male DNA on the bike stuff. So
Yeah.
people could say, it wasn't Barry. He only had a little bit of DNA in the bike because he took the bike out of the car. And that's a great example to say, yeah, see, my DNA would be on there because I took it out.
So instead of saying DNA of unknown male, we can also say like multiple DNAs.
Yeah. That's why I didn't go into detail. Because if I show that, I want to show the breakdown specific. A lot of times I want to get very technical and break it down to all the details and take it right from the reports. So there's no misunderstanding. This is just generic. I just wanted to tell them that there is unknown DNA found in that type of gear, the bicycle and stuff. I'm so tempted to go on more about it. But I want to keep the context of, the subject area focused. So, but I just want to get that thought in there. So now we're going to get into what our thoughts are. Okay. So I want to start with Shrek first. So,
yes. So,
what's your thoughts just on this topic? In terms of
the writing.
Did she write in the morning? Did she write in the afternoon? Did she not write at all? What do you think?
I think the day of May 10th, she didn't write at all because, the theory in the investigation and the data we pulled that she probably passed and something probably happened May 9th, that evening, that night. So May 10th, out of the question.
I 100% agree with you.
You agree with me now.
We may not always agree on these
don't.
cases, but I totally agree because if you really think about it, and again, as far as I know,
right.
I think I mentioned this already. I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but if you go on the internet, they'll say, "Oh, she was last seen riding her bike." Well, last seen by who? Like It's a figure of speech. As far as I know, I don't know of anyone who saw her. As far as I know, it was Barry that last saw her. Okay. And he last saw her sleeping, and he everything about Suzanne from the 9th at like 2 something p.m. all the way till whenever is all controlled by what Barry said.
Exactly.
Right or wrong, lie or truth. So yeah, I agree. I don't think she rode a bike at all.
Yes. I don't think she did as
And
well.
even if she was alive, guess what? She may have took a ride in the morning. Maybe she would have. And maybe she still had the bike in the car. Maybe she's going to go for a ride out. That whole thing of him taking it out, who knows if that's true? Again, everything is controlled by Barry, so we got to take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt here. So that's our thoughts, folks. Right. What do you guys think? Because that's important. We value your opinion.
I would love if someone said that she wrote on May 10th. That'd be great because, she was alive for Mother's Day, remember? That'd be good if she was alive for Mother's Day, if someone has some evidence of that. If
somebody could place her definitively, at some time on the 10th. But she would have definitely, again, not to go back to too much of an episode before, but she would have definitely texted her daughters back, Jeff, somebody. I mean, let me go back to us again real quick. So, because I want to take a moment to talk about this because this is important. So, we find patterns in people's behaviors, right? Really important, especially with this one. When she would usually ride her bike, where she would ride her bike, what would she usually wear? Well, the same thing goes for every other day-to-day thing. She was very responsive on the phone. There was no indication her phone wasn't working. Things that she did, there would have been something. And on the 9th, we hear nothing. Mm-hmm. So, we're focusing on the bike ride, but that's if it even happened. Right. And according to what we're thinking, if we take the puzzles together, we're saying, well, there's not enough evidence on the 9th to say that she was really alive as far as we know.
And on the 10th, she would normally bring the cell phone, and the cell phone would ping her writing, right?
Right. And we got so many little deep dives on this case. We're hopefully going to do piece by piece, and that way we'd have a grand finale of kind of pushing it all together. Yeah. But basically, the phone thing is a whole other conversation, the weird pings and the weird different things that happen. Again, I'm trying to find all the reports on that so I can get very, very accurate data compared to what's on the internet. But yeah, I mean, there's just things that doesn't make sense. We know the phone was operational, so there's got to be something with that. So with the bike ride, yeah, I don't really think it was. I don't think she unfortunately was riding that morning, afternoon, or anything. So with that, folks, thank you so much. Hopefully you weigh in. We will try to get back to your comments. We value all your valuable input. We're hoping when we get to enough subscribers, we can get some surveys out to you so we can better improve what we do for you. But we're all one team, and we appreciate you being part of our family and part of our team to get this all together.
Thank you.
So until next time, we'll see you.
Studio 70.